Welcome to Take It from the Iron Woman. My name is Susanne Müller, your host and the Iron Woman. This podcast is about empowering yourself and others to make real changes in the world. You will hear from everyday, smart, sophisticated, hip people like you and me. Not everybody has to be an Iron Woman to impress the world. Together, we will learn from the sports and business leaders how you can become a more successful person as an entrepreneur or a leader. It's one step at a time, one day at a time. Take your steps now. Take your big steps now. Join me on this journey to success. This podcast is being sponsored by Get Loopy. On episode 41, you can hear the story of Isabel, the co-founder and CEO. Get Loopy, get a 20% discount off your first order. GetLoopy.com. Take it from the Iron Woman. Again, we have only special guests here. We have Reza Mirza with us. He's the CEO of Icelandic Glacial Water. He's located in Los Angeles, originally from India. Welcome, Reza, to our podcast series.
Thank you, Suzanne. Appreciate it.
Introduce yourself a little bit. How does a typical day look like for you? And then obviously we know it's not the typical day anymore. How is it for you as the CEO?
It's an interesting time that we are in. It just came out from the blue from all of us, I think. I don't have a atypical day. I've never had one. I'd love to have a typical day, but but it changes because number one is my priority has been first comes my team, our people. We were, even before the quarantine hit, we pulled out from all the trade shows and the expos. And because it was like the team, we didn't feel comfortable exposing our team to a large group of people. Mm-hmm. So the way I look at it is as a leader I need to ensure the well-being of my team. It comes first. What did we do? The very first thing that we did, we told everybody, even before the official stay at home, it came out, everyone could work from home. We canceled all the air travel and we asked everyone to make time at home. So we continued to work because I must say, and then when the closure happened, the demand for bottled water went through the roof. As a company, we had to come together to ensure that all our retailers were well looked after. So we had our supply chain, our people in the factory in Iceland. We had to get all raw materials. So it's been 100 miles an hour days because you are dealing with different time zones, different retailers across the world, and they're already in. So, and then there was a crazy demand for water. For our water, we had retailers who we haven't been in calling us up. And it was the hardest decision to say no because we had to service the existing customers, sure. As well as we had to ramp up our production in Iceland. We had to add on extra shifts and we're now running 20 hours a day now to fulfill demand. Mm-hmm. But I must say, it's hats off to our supply chain network, distribution network, our distribution partners like Anheuser-Busch, all our distributors, where these are the people in the front lines, They are out there delivering the product to supply to retailers to ensure that everyone who orders or everyone who needs Icelandic it is available. So everyone talks about the doctors and the nurses who are on the front line, and they I just applaud, I salute them. Mm-hmm. They're absolute heroes, but also the heroes are the people who are working at the stores, people who are standing behind the counters, people who are working in the back rooms, people who are driving those trucks and getting the water from the factory into your store. So nobody is suffering. These are all amazing. As a CEO, it's like managing the whole supply chain process, working with my sales team, my marketing team, ensure they are engaged. And the other thing that we have to do is ensuring the emotional health of our team. We are in a quarantine. We all stay at home. People have families. So one of the things which we look at is how do you keep your team engaged? Yep. When everybody is staying at home. I think having Zoom or Microsoft Team meetings has been very helpful because we start seeing each other face to face versus just a conference call. We organize happy hours on Zoom. We have happy hours with our team on Zoom, and we just talk about how are people doing, what are they doing. We continue business review meetings, but we also do educational meetings, like we set up Excel training. How do you get better at Excel? How do you get better at tools? So we have set up in-house classes like Train the Trainer. So it's important to keep your team engaged. So when this is going to end, when they start opening up. So when you come out, your team needs to be physically, emotionally, mentally, all strong and ready to come out and hit the ground running,
And I like when you say the team come first. I facilitate many times mindfulness trainings, and there we said, the results are important, but the team, the people work with you and for you, these are the people that we have to be grateful for, and we need to look after them. So I love, as the CEO, that really the team comes first. And then my other question is how do you keep then motivated so that you can inspire your employees? Because we say you put the mask on you first and then you help the others. So how do you keep motivated and inspired?
The first thing is, which is interesting, is you got to keep yourself physically active. You may not have to go to the gym, but what I've done is I ensure I go for a walk in the evenings. My wife and I, we go out for walks, and just going out, getting a breath of fresh air, and just keeping your muscles moving. I have a bike. I ride a bike for an hour. But it's very important, at least for me, is to keep myself to do some physical activity. With the Fitbit, it tells you how much you are not exercising. So you should. So then it says, am I getting my 10,000 steps a day? So even if I'm on a conference call, I make it a point to go to walk up and down. So that's the physical aspect, which is very important. But for me, it's also very important for my mental health. So I do meditation, 15 minutes a day. One thing which I've really caught up is my reading. There were books which I had, which I've gone halfway through, but it's been a slow build. But now I go through about one or two books a week now because I love to read, and I've signed up for a masterclass. I always wanted to do that. It's, we get caught up in our own worlds, but it's I find it very interesting to read about or to hear other people's experiences. I try to keep myself both physically and mentally occupied, but the most important thing, I've still kept my routine. I try to go to sleep the same time even when I was working, I get up the same time. So I try to keep a routine going. So when we open up, it's not that, oh God, I have to again come up with a new routine,
I like that. I say also the routine is the most important, and the routine is about the discipline, and the discipline provides you with freedom. So you are disciplined, you have a routine, and that allows you to do other things. And now, since I'm a book junkie too, I want to hear, what are your books that you have read lately, if you read 1 to 2 books a week?
Quite a few. One book which I loved was Bob Iger, who's the CEO or was the CEO of the Disney company. The book called The Ride of My Life. It's a fantastic book. Then a book by Tom Ferriss on mentors, and I love autobiographies. So for me, I find it absolutely very interesting. In fact, I may not have it here, but there's a book on creating habits, which was interesting. I came across this book. It's called The 4 Disciplines of Execution. I strongly believe that you can have the best of strategies. You can have a best of planning, but if you don't execute well, it is going to fail.
Yep.
So I was just looking around to see, is there any books on execution? It's an excellent book. It gives you a framework on how do you make your company better from an execution point of view.
That's cool.
I've just finished actually an incredible show called The Ottomans. It's about the rise of the Ottoman Empire. And then I also watched the Tiger King, which is like watching a train wreck.
Yeah.
I'm like literally watching a train wreck.
Everybody is high on Netflix. What else can you do, right? But I like when you say it's about the mental and the physical. So you go for a walk and you take the bike out. It's about staying happy and healthy, and then exude that to your team. And I know you have been traveling so much. So how is that for you to be home now all the time?
Well, my wife may not be too happy about that, because now I've literally been at home, but it's like I said, it's got its pros and cons. When you travel, I'm a big believer I love to meet my customers, my distributors, etc. And you have a personal touch over there, which is very important.
Mm-hmm.
But then I've started to use a lot more like Zoom. I never used Zoom meetings before.
Mm-hmm.
And now we use Zoom and all that stuff to really continue that process. But it is different. I would like to, I can't wait to start getting out there, getting back to meeting my customers and my retailers and my team and stuff like that, because my style is a very hands-on, personal style. And that's something which I really miss. So you can have a lot of technology, but at the end of the day, there's nothing like a firm handshake and looking at the person and having that relationship with the person, you know?
I hear you. I think it's for a lot of people, it's difficult not to have that. And especially when you're in a CEO sales role, it's about that personal relationship that you can have in a way with the Zoom, but obviously the handshake and to look into each other's eyes, that's the most important.
I tell this to my nephews and nieces also. I see, and again, I might be very old school and old fashioned, but whatever the technologies out there, having human interaction, technology cannot substitute human interaction. Best of Skype or Zoom or Microsoft Teams. It's all good tools, don't get me wrong, but it doesn't beat that. Yeah. So I can't wait, get on planes and start getting back on the road.
Back to the new normal. Whatever that might be, right?
Yeah, whatever it might be, it's people are out there hurting, and I'm sure everyone is waiting, but it's also the right thing to do is to stay at home. We are all in this together. We all have to just suck it up for the greater good, and we will come out of this stronger.
Wow, what big words, right? And wisdom from Reza. So thank you so much, and good luck with your team and with your organization, and we'll see each other again on an airport when our calendars.
Absolutely. I look forward to it.
Yeah, that would be cool.
Absolutely. I look forward to it.
Yeah, thank you. Great to talk to a CEO with different perspective. He's responsible for the team as well. Take it from the Iron Woman. Check in every Monday, every Wednesday. We have podcast shows coming up.